Good morning, Chris Northrup with the Upper Deck for Pinstripe Chronicles. I'm here today with Lynn Kandrak, and we're going to talk about everything Yankees, the week that was, what we expect coming up. And Lynn, do you have anywhere you'd like to get started?
So I think we should get started with the week that was.
Yeah.
And since we last came on, we had our series with the Jays.
Yes.
So why don't we start there? What's your overall takeaway from the Jays, Chris?
Well, we split the series, but it wasn't, our offense, when it wasn't on, it was off. And I mean, there were, two shutouts or not? Were we shut out?
We were shut out definitely the first game.
Okay. But all that notwithstanding, and since then, I mean, the offense, since we came to Baltimore on Friday night, we got shut out. There's these lapses in the offense that remind me so much of 2021. It's like I have PTSD, and they start hitting into those double plays and grounding out to the second baseman, DJ, grounding out to the second baseman. I start getting flashes of last year.
Right. And, I think to be positive for a minute, at least we split with the Jays. The Jays are the one team in all of MLB that make me physically sick when those series start, during the whole series. They're Yankee eaters. They have us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then spit us back out.
Yeah.
And, so I think the reason we, did better than prior series, like last year, forget it. Like, did we even win against them? It feels like we didn't.
Yeah.
But I think our defense is what saved us in the series and got us the couple of wins we got. Because to your point, Chris, the bats were embarrassing.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the clutch hits, and they were low score games, and that shows.
Right.
It just took the one or two contributors to go long and get us in. And that's the other problem, talking about the offense overall, is that everyone's still hitting for power. And I get it, and I don't disapprove of it. However, we need to just start getting hits. There's literally, I'm not seeing much smart pitch reading at the plate. It's like swing and miss or swing and connect.
Yeah.
And so a little bit more of the small ball action, get some men on base, and then of course, don't leave them there. And so we had a couple of dreadful RISP situations this week when we did, get some men on base. But the offense is a little bit troubling.
Yeah.
The defense seems to be blending and gelling together better. And the offense is puzzling, which I think might have to do a little bit with how the lineup's been going, right, Chris?
Right. And, my question of the week was going to be, and you anticipated that perfectly, is what is the cause of these sudden droughts that the Yankee offense goes into? What is the cause of these suddenly, like Friday night when they were shut out by the O's? We don't expect that. We don't expect to go into Camden Yards and get shut out. Of course, now that they've moved the wall back, almost 30 feet, we can't expect to go in there like Glaber did and, hit home runs over the fence every at bat. But I think that you're absolutely right. But before we leave the Blue Jays series, I had mentioned shutouts, and the note that I had to myself was actually the fact that the Yankees starting pitching had 2 shutouts. against the Blue Jays. And that is what helped save the series as well. Both Cortez and Severino shut him out.
That's right.
And only after Cole had been victimized by Vlad Jr.
Holy moly.
Oh, Vlad Jr. put on a clinic against us.
He is just not human. To think that he has improved. Like, there was no room for improvement last year.
Yeah.
But somehow he found that room.
Woe is me.
Yeah, I mean, he is just, at his very young age, you already know first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's written in the stars with this kid. So yeah, Cole really struggled, with Vladdy in particular. But yeah, so we're the ones that, you're right. And so I apologize. Do you know how long ago the J series feels?
Oh, I know.
Exactly.
So if I didn't have my notes in front of me, believe me,
yeah,
it's not as though it was a particularly memorable series, except maybe for those couple of starting outings by Cortez. I mean, I love Nestor Cortez. When he's there, he's must-see TV for me.
Yeah.
As much as Cole is.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing with Nestor is I'm never bored or frustrated. He never frustrates me. I could always sit back and relax when he's on the mound, regardless of what he may give up, here and there.
Right.
He's so consistent but not predictable to his hitters.
No.
At all. But I think, I'm speaking for all of us, everybody, I guess. But I think he's one that we feel like, okay, we actually have a shot, and we feel that way going in. So yeah, he brought all of the nasty.
Yeah, he did.
And I'm looking forward to that again tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
Today, whatever time the game is.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's this afternoon. And I wish the lineup had come out, because as you said, and as you pointed out, the lineups have been the talk of social media.
Yes.
Every day when the lineup comes out, Twitter goes mad with the hate or love or hate. Not much love, actually. And Lynn, what do you think that is attributable to?
On the surface, at first I thought it was, maybe this is a little bit smart of Boone, with so many, new players having joined, starting the season off, experimenting a little bit. Didn't seem so, bad to me to figure out the right order. But it doesn't seem to be solidifying. And, I know we're only at game 10 today, but enough already. I think that the particular problem is with the bottom of the lineup. Last week I was very open about the 7, 8, 9 spots, but no bueno there this week. And something's got to shift there, I think.
Yeah.
And we got to get the leadoff situation handled.
Oh.
Does it tell us that DJ needs to revert back now that we have healthy DJ? I was on the DJ shouldn't be leading off train last year. I was very vocal about that, but now come to find the story behind some of his performance problems. He's slugging now, so and doing really just fine. So do we put him back there? I didn't mind, and I know we're going to talk about Hicks quite a bit. I don't mind Hicks lead off for the opposite reason, because if nothing happens with him lead off, at least we have the strength of our order right behind him. But I don't want him to stay there. I just didn't hate it. I was surprised, but of the others that he's put lead off, I was a little bit more open to, but not wanting. overall.
Yeah. Well, overall, last week, LeMahieu led off on Monday, Donaldson on Tuesday, Rizzo on Wednesday, pardon me, Donaldson on Thursday, Rizzo on Friday, and Hicks on Saturday. I mean, that is just a small micro sample of the whole of the lineup, where there's no consistency for day in and day out between, for the player to get comfortable in the order in the lineup that they play in. And I've heard Paul O'Neill, for example, talking about how he liked knowing where he was going to be hitting in the lineup, basically every day. There's some comfort in that. You prepare for that, knowing that. And also, I think as far as the rotating lineups go, because of the extra infielder that is creating these bizarre lineups where you have, for example, Rizzo in as the DH and LeMahieu at first base. I mean, for crying out loud, you've got them both in the game and you don't have Rizzo at first base.
Right.
What is the logic of this? And how on defense are you supposed to get the that feeling between, for example, on the double play, between the shortstop and the first baseman, second baseman, first baseman? I mean, that needs to be bang, 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 that they
That's
do
right.
every day with the same guys at the same, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Routine makes for solidity.
Right. Absolutely. So while it's a benefit to have some depth in the infield, you're absolutely right. They need to have a dynamic that they understand, and so 100% on all of that. In terms of going back to the lineup for a second, there wasn't even any strategy behind it that I could find, other than, like I said at the beginning, that maybe this was a science experiment of some point. It's not like it was a left, right, and whether the pitcher was lefty or righty situation. Yeah. That's what makes me think it's like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Absolutely. I would hope to think it's a little bit more thoughtful than that.
Yeah.
But speaking of Rizzo, he's another one I'd be comfortable with in the leadoff. Okay. If he were to continue showing what he's been showing, and it's been a pleasant surprise. Yeah. To finally see the Rizzo that we acquired. Yeah. Offensively.
I remember when Rizzo was with the Cubs, it was a kind of a standing joke that he would be the leadoff guy. He always wanted to lead off when Madden was there. And they kind of had a standing, go back and forth about whether he'd lead off. And here he is in New York actually being seriously considered as a leadoff man.
Right.
I don't know what that says about Rizzo, except that maybe his career path has brought him to a different place in it, in his hitting life, where he's making contact more often than he's hitting them out. I don't know. Actually, it's too small a sample size for me to say either way right now.
Right. I mean, we really haven't played. It feels like we've already had a season.
Well, Twitter will do that to you.
It sure will. It ages you like in dog years, or the opposite of dog years. And I think currently the only switch hitter we have is Hicks. Am I right about that?
Just racking my brain quickly. I believe you are.
So, that's the other query I have about him being leadoff. Other than if Boone is really thinking, okay, get him out of the way, because we have Judge right after him, like I said. I said it nicer the first time. But, strategically, he may be better off, further down the order in case there's a pitching change, he has a little bit more versatility. What he does with that is a whole different story. Yeah. But leveraging him in that way, maybe he's the one that if there's anyone that were to float in the lineup, maybe it would be him. And then
his walks.
he does, you know, I mean, at least he's the current he's the current on base guy in that way. You know, I really have this thing about reading pitches and being smarter about what you take versus what you know, try to connect with. But you know, yeah, I think he probably has the highest base on balls percentage. Again, teeny weeny sample size.
Yeah.
So, and then, you know, going further down the order, this brings me to catcher. So Higgy, when we saw him last, which was the last game with the Jays, I believe, you know, he finally got a hit. He got a standing double. Oh, yeah, actually, that might have been the first game of the Orioles. I think that was Thursday. But either way, I mean, he's been making it look like, you know, the last games of spring training were an aberration.
Right.
And everyone's getting a little bit, you know, restless about that. Whereas Trevino, whoa, I mean,
but
both sides of the plate.
2 games, right?
It is only 2 games. But I like the power I see behind his bat. Yeah. But yeah, you know, I think everything we're going to be saying is, you know, is going to be like, but there's still so much time left.
I mean, at least, you know, I mean, Trevino, yeah, but I just noticed on social media, Twitter especially, that he's supplanted Higashioka and he's only been in the lineup twice. So, I mean, but anyway.
Oh my God, it got contagious and I caught some of the sugar disease.
But then again, I'm ready for any change because it's not like, do people really believe Higashioka is at anywhere on the spectrum with like JT Realmuto or you know, the Salvador Perez, or his name is not being mentioned as an elite catcher in any way, shape, or form.
No.
So anybody who comes up and performs with, you know, offense and defense better is going to look like the next coming.
Yeah. So I would like to see, you know, and I think everyone would like to see some settling. Yeah. I wonder how the players feel about it. You know, we could only guess that what O'Neill was saying the other night is how, you know, they're feeling about it. And it also kind of goes back to the dynamics of things.
Yeah.
As well, like we were just talking about with the infield. You know, when you have the right order, knowing there's going to be times that you're, you know, giving someone a rest day and DHs might, you know, change. But, you know, then you know, okay, who's going to get the next batter amped because they're, you know, the most likely to get something going.
Yeah.
And have the guy behind them sometimes that, you know, might need that extra push that, you know, but so I think the dynamics of knowing the regular players, and some of that is going to come, I think, when we go back down to the 16-man, which is coming really soon.
You're right. And there could be, because the Yankees can, and I guess, consider this is not a rebuilding year, but I don't know. Do they think they're going to win it this year? I mean, does Cashman really think this is our year? Anyway, that's beside the point.
Cashman never thinks it's our year. Cashman's like, you know, wild card, great, we're done. Right. That's enough.
But I think you might be right when you said, you know, that they're trying out the combinations of players,
right,
and that sort of thing because of the probably shortened spring training on the one hand, and on the other hand, because they do have to make the cuts.
That's right. And I know I did the math entirely wrong. At a 16-man.
Whatever.
I don't do math well caffeinated.
No,
So
me neither.
you guys get the point. We have decisions to make both in the bullpen and the lineup. So and that does kind of help my hypothesis that this is still audition time to some extent.
Yeah.
And that might be part of the strategy with this rotating lineup.
Well, at least it gives the appearance of there being a strategy.
Anytime we could use that word, I'm going to jump on it.
Exactly. At least it gives us a glimpse at the Yankee philosophy,
right?
Which is developing their own players and et cetera, et cetera. We don't want to beat a dead horse with that, but as you said, the bottom of the lineup has been a disappointment. We got shut out Friday night. We need offense to come alive and to do that soon. And one of the people that has not been hitting, several, but Donaldson is a surprise to me.
Yes, absolutely. And believe me, there's been a lot of grumbling on the wires about him.
Yeah.
But late in the game yesterday, he did, come through a bit. But not for 80 gajillion or whatever we acquired him for that we're still paying for his previous. So, and again, keep saying, game 10, but I'm watching him closely. I think everyone is. Not what you want to see so far.
And what about Gallo?
At the plate.
Yeah, at the plate.
So Gallo, I manage expectations differently for Gallo.
All right.
I have absolutely zero problems with him defensively. But this is the Gallo of last season. And I think that Gallo is the one guy that I know we can't rely on for thinking small. He has said it himself in interviews that, he hits for power. And that's his way of
when he hits.
Well, right. And he said, and basically he's saying, so if I don't, I'll contribute in other ways, but,
right.
I'm always going to swing for the fences because he feels like that's his wheelhouse, which PS, I don't know what, look up wheel in the dictionary, maybe look up house in the dictionary, maybe. He's good for the team in a dozen other ways, except for getting, runs on the board.
Right.
Once he's on, when he does get on, I think his base on balls must be one maybe on the pitch. But when he maybe hit by a pitch, he gets on base.
Right.
I jest a little bit. I think that he's good for the team. He's a good energy and all those sort of things, but that's not going to get us very far. I have hopes for when the shift goes away next season, but that's next season. I think the shift really works against him.
Right.
But yeah, you can't hang your hat on Gallo.
No, Gallo, I never wanted Gallo, and I still don't want Gallo. And it's not that I don't like him, it's that he doesn't hit. He's not productive. I mean, so what if he gets, just like the argument that people make about Hicks being having high on base percentage. You know what? That's not exciting baseball, really. That's not really, I'm not really watching because Hicks walks every other time he gets on base, every time he gets an opportunity. And I'm certainly not watching Joey Gallo to get his walks, but it wouldn't hurt to get a triple now and then, or, even just a bloop single.
Right. A bunt. Give me a bunt.
Oh my God, forbid.
Drop your bat a little low every once in a while and shudder, and maybe something will happen. But I just think, and yet there's a whole lot of people projecting, upwards of the high 20s in home runs for Gallo this season.
Right.
And I know we have a really small, like you said, small sample size, but he better start those numbers going.
Right.
I just don't know. And to your point about Hicks, on base percentage only matters if you end up going all the way around the horn and getting home. You want to talk a little bit about what happened yesterday, Chris?
With Hicks?
Yes.
Oh, Hicks, our 30-30 man, he gets on base, and his first, how did he get on second? Did he hit a double? But anyway, he tried to steal third and was called out stealing. And then later in the game, he was on first and attempted to steal second, which he would have been out. But Judge happened to get ball 4 at the same time.
Right.
So he was safe in the end. But that's not the point. He had attempted his second stolen base in the same game with the same result. Nada.
Yeah. And I'm not leaning towards believing he was given a signal to do so either time.
Is Hicks the man we want hitting 30-30? Really? I mean, is he our speed guy?
Is he any guy except he could catch a ball coming at him? I'm not sure. And let me tell you how bad it was for that. Let's start with the first steal. It got Aaron Boone mad enough to have a conversation with him. You saw, Boone's back was to the camera, but there was a whole lot of nodding, and Hicks was doing a whole lot of listening and not making any eye contact. So, Boone played manager.
Yeah.
In between innings. And so that was nice to see. And that just tells you, how much it sucked. I never see that, at least in the dugout or on the field, from Boone.
Right.
So, yeah, just really stupid baseball.
Yeah. So luckily it didn't matter. We won the game. So
right. But I just want to say we won the game and we shut it down. But why did it take so long for the bats? This Baltimore's pitcher had an ERA of what, 597?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Well, if that's the case, you knew he was going to pitch a 2-hit shutout or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like they were facing, a pitcher to be concerned about, or that really should have been so difficult.
Right.
But be that as may, I'm not going to throw away the win.
Yeah.
But we should be walking away taking that entire series.
Yes.
And if we don't take today,
yep.
That will be a bigger embarrassment, the biggest embarrassment so far.
Yeah, it's a little mini test, this series, of where the Yankees are 10 days into the season. But
and it's mini, and yet, these are the games we have to win. These are supposed to be the easies and the gimmies for us. Right. And so that when we're later in the season and the Jays and the Sox, and we haven't even met the Rays yet.
Right.
Another big worry, we need those under our belt.
Yeah.
And, to not walk away with entire sweep is not good. I
agree. We should be definitely up to the task. We've got more than enough. There's more than enough talent on this team. But again, putting it all together and making it a unit, making it that machine, like you saw the Braves were just a machine going through the end of the year. And that's right. Where you have to, what the goal is.
Right.
Let's hope they're aiming at that anyway.
Right. Speaking of aim, let's talk about the pitching.
Yeah, pitching, I think is our strength. I mean, it definitely, even Cole, I mean, he's getting tattooed by the home run, but he doesn't look bad.
He doesn't look bad. There's just something about his deportment that has me concerned.
Okay.
I feel like I'm not seeing, and this is just a vibe. I don't charge $18.99 a minute. I'm not, trying to be psychic here or anything, but I don't see the confidence on the mound. I feel concern and overthinking, and I don't know. I'm just not seeing ace production overall.
Right.
I think that and I think he's forever disappointed in himself. It's it's a little bit a bad look that he's like blaming other things for it, ridiculous things for some of it.
Right.
But although I agree with him about this Death Star thing, which is really going to be the death of me, that everyone, I was calling it the whale call. Because a lot of other people were. I now have been Star Wars schooled. I prefer Spaceballs, but he said that that's so distracting to him. I kind of understood him there, but anyway, I just think I want him to walk out like the ace he is, and give that presence of it, and I'm just not seeing the presence of it, and I think maybe feeling that presence in himself might also help. And he's not doing bad. He's just still, and maybe my expectations have always been too high, he's not the ace, the super ace.
Yeah.
I know there were reasons for it last year, but when are we going to see that super ace, that Schwarzer level, ace?
I want to see that killer instinct, like with CC's, that CC always had.
Right.
Get the ball, throw the ball, get the ball, the concentration and just that killer instinct. Just beat them down.
Right.
We haven't seen yet. It seems like you're right. There is something held back at the moment.
Yeah, I just feel like he's in his own head more than concentrating on what's in front of him. So you said it much better than I did. So on the other hand, let's talk about Sevy.
Oh, and yes, Severino was just on. He had it going.
That he was just, I understood why they pulled him when they did. We still have to be very careful with him.
Yeah.
But he was an ace on that mound.
Yes.
He was not taking any prisoners.
Nope.
And just the nastiness of all the pitches he threw.
And the attitude.
And the speed. I was just very excited by Sevy on his second outing.
Yeah. And this is not a starting pitching note, but what about the Mike King performance the other night after Aroldis Chapman walked the bases loaded, and then they brought in Mike King, and he managed to hold it down without giving up any runs?
Yeah. So where is his crown? Because
Mike King is definitely holding our bullpen together right now.
Together, right.
Yeah.
And so now he's up in closer contention, along with some of the other names we've tossed around for who would be our next closer,
right?
Whether it's Lowe or Green.
Yeah.
Now, you could kind of set your sights on King in that equation.
Right.
I also want to, give a little shout out for Marinaccio.
Okay.
Who, bad first batter. I mean, but he is in Yankee Stadium for the first time.
Right.
Lifelong fan. Which, by the way, is true for IKF too. And just a side note that no one could be in the shoes of a kid his whole life idolizing the Yankees and dreaming of being a Yankee, and they're on the field as a Yankee. It's going to take a while for that to settle in and for them to get into the skin of it.
Right.
But, Marinaccio, it took him it took Rizzo coming over to the mound, and Higgy was catching that day.
Yeah.
A visit by the two of them, I think it was after the first batter, which basically settled down, all
Right.
good. And he was fine there. And on his second, trip to the mound as well. So, so there's some youngsters that I think we're good to bring on board. We'll see what happens in May, and if he's going to be taxi squad or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
I liked what I saw.
It's been fun so far watching the bullpen arms go to work.
Yeah. So what's your early sense on Chapman? I know we had our opinions coming into the season.
Yeah, Chapman, how many more chances? I mean, this is going on since last season. It's not a new problem. I mean, we have a Chapman problem. And I think you got to take him out of those high leverage roles and at least put him in the 8th spot or something, setup role for a while. I don't know. It's an expensive problem to have, but I'd personally roll my eyes when he comes in the game. I have no faith in him anymore.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I ended the season feeling that way,
yes.
But hoping that it was just something going on. But a lot of months passed, and it's clearly not that.
Right.
And I think that this is one situation. It's different than what we were just talking about in terms of the lineup.
Yeah.
I think you can play until you get it right. Not play long or play with every single man in the bullpen, but I would not be mad at rotating Lowe, Green, and King, for example, for the 9th.
Right.
Depending on how the game has gone, the batters that they're facing, and deciding that way.
Yeah.
Because that at least would be strategic, and not this assumption that 9th is Chapman's.
Right.
I would be fine with 9th being determined that way.
Yes.
And we're still absent Britton, and I know there's mixed feelings in our fan base about Britton.
Right.
But I think Britton's going to make a difference when he's back as well. So, and the other thing I'll say about the 9th inning is, we have that rule about, having to face 3 batters for the closer.
Yeah.
And that's another big consideration, because, by the time Chappie's failed with the first 2 batters, you want to bring that in that other guy, and you can't.
Yeah. And
so you have to wish that 3rd batter gets on so that you could bring Michael King in.
Yeah. And but to expect the result that you got from Michael King every time Chapman loads the bases is not too much to expect, obviously.
Right.
So the best solution is going to be something that involves Chapman not pitching the 9th inning,
100%.
or at least not pitching the 9th inning when it's a high leverage inning. But
I agree.
What do you think about going forward into today's game and even into next week into the Detroit series?
So we have Nestor on the mound today.
Yay!
So, unless the lineup surprises us, if we go by the rotation as it's Nestor.
Yeah.
It better damn well be Nestor, because I'd like to have a relaxing Sunday.
Yeah.
And, so I have high hopes today. I think that Nestor will keep the runs down and hopefully non-existent.
Yeah.
I'm going to start by saying, if we lose this game, we should all like just hang our heads in shame, because it's bad enough that we're not sweeping.
Yeah.
But we have Nestor. I expect Higgy to be back today, just because they've had Trevino twice in a row.
Right.
It just seems like that's what's going to happen.
Day game after night game.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And exactly that as well. And so it's about the lineup that we don't know yet.
It's
And
a mystery.
who's going to be sitting out today.
And that's infuriating.
Yes. And so I think we could safely assume Judge is going to be in the lineup. But who's going to sit out? I'm hoping it's Gallo. I'd like to see Stanton, Judge, Hicks in the outfield, and give Gallo a day of rest. It's Sunday. Let him rest.
Oh my gosh.
And then I think we have a shot. I'm thinking, let me get DJ and Glaber both on the field, and would that put Donaldson as DH? Yeah, that could be, which isn't the best scenario at all.
Again, I don't get that. Just put DJ in as the freaking DH. Don't put him on the base instead of Donaldson or Rizzo.
Right.
I don't get that strategy.
Right. Yeah.
Except giving them a half day off.
That would be smarter. As I was talking at it, like, I just put myself in a corner. But yes, that would be smarter, because there's not the worry about Donaldson on third. And the rest of it is locked and loaded, I think.
Yeah.
Even Glaber on second. I think that he's making less mistakes than last year defensively. I saw a couple of moments of athleticism.
Yeah, he made a downright nice play.
Yes.
In the early innings yesterday.
Yes.
But I made a note to myself, nice play for Glaber.
Yeah, exactly. And despite what people are saying, I like IKF on the field. And so I'd be good with that. And you're right, DJ, DHing, DGDH. EGLMDH.
MOUS.
But yeah, I think that would be the way to go. Stanton was DH yesterday. And so get him out on the field.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm with you. It's anything less than a win, of course, is a disappointment. Anything less than a sweep, actually, of this series is a bit of a disappointment, because we should win the games we should win.
That's right.
Yeah, so we should not be getting shut out by the Orioles. So I'm looking for the guys to, keep the bats hot today behind Nestor, and looking forward to seeing what Nestor brings out. He's the mystery man. It's something different. The different wrinkle comes from him every outing, it seems like.
Yep.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And as for the Detroit series coming up, it's on the road.
Yeah. So, Detroit is not, let me tell you who Detroit isn't. Detroit is not the Rays. Right. Detroit is not the Braves. Detroit is not the Jays. And so I'm viewing this as another there's no excuse series.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Detroit is a bottom feeder team, but I think that stacked up against us, we should be taking that series.
Yeah.
And that should be our expectation for every series.
Right.
But given that we're not taking the full series in Baltimore, I think they need to, psych themselves up and assume they're taking the series in Detroit.
Yeah.
Because it's going to get harder from there on out. And so I forget who they have after the Tigers on the road.
Yeah, I don't know.
But time to start drawing the line in the sand.
Right.
It's 10 games passed, and time to start showing everybody that you're facing that, we're here, we mean business. We're not going for the wild card like our ownership is.
Yeah.
And show that outside of our stadium and outside of our division. So
yep.
Yeah.
I agree. You're 100% right. They're not. It's who Detroit is not that matters.
Yes.
That's such a cool way of putting it. Because I do believe that the Yankees, when we were looking at getting past the Blue Jays, it was like, phew, we've got the Orioles and then the Tigers. So if that's the attitude, then we ought to win the games we ought to win, or that we think we ought to win.
Exactly. Because we can't put the Rays off much longer.
Right, exactly. They'll come for us.
Oh, 100%. And the more that we don't sweep the teams that are not on top, the worse it's going to be and the easier they're going to think they have.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So I expect next week when we're on, we'll have a lot of talk about performance on the road versus at home.
Right.
I forget that we're already on the road, I guess, because I want to forget that we haven't swept Baltimore. But yeah, so right. I think for me, that's the week that was. Today it's a beautiful day. Hopefully it is in Baltimore as well.
Yeah.
And let's end this week. 3 out of 4 I could live with.
Absolutely. I say go.
2 out of 4 I cannot.
Yeah. Let's go in today and do the job. Get the job done.
That's right. 100%. Yep.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for us this week. It was so nice to spend some time with you on this Easter Sunday. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Lynn?
And for those of you that are observing other holidays, we wish you a happy Passover, a happy Ramadan.
Thank you.
And for those of you that are not celebrating, we wish you a good Sunday and a Yankees victory. And remember that every Sunday, you'll always have your reserve seat right here with Chris Northrup and me on the upper deck. Have a good day, and let's go Yankees.
Go Yankees.